Hello class, my name is Jessie Shivers, and the case that I'm going to be discussing and talking to you guys about today is called An Apple a Day by Megan Rickel. Now, we didn't cover this case in class, so I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys because it's not that long, but I want you guys to get a better understanding of what the case is about. We have all heard the stories of nightmarish doctor's visits. When the doctor is dismissive and rude, patronizing, rushed and annoyed, or even prejudiced on some levels. The advent of new technology has replaced long discussions with more accurate tests and scans. Some doctors' attitudes have driven away clients and have become hotbeds for malpractice lawsuits. Others feel the pressure to see more and more patients, thus reducing the time allowed for each individually. While of course accurate diagnoses are beneficial, is the seeming decrease in personal concern and doctors' cause for alarm. A patient can rate their doctor on such sites as WebMD.com, but most doctors either are never aware of such surveys or they don't take them seriously, as these surveys are totally unmoderated. There are medical practice groups who perform medical surveys and take the results very seriously, even docking the pay of low-ranked physicians. Because of an increase of such requests, insurance companies are now adopting their own physician rating systems and will offer bonuses to highly rated physicians. While these incentives may not cure the case of the distant doctor, they may at least create awareness in the medical community regarding a patient's personal expectations. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how this is going to affect not only the doctors, but the patients that the doctors are seeing. I think that the doctors are going to just see their patients as dollar signs, and I say this because they're going to have their patients wait 30 minutes in the waiting room and come see them for 2 minutes, and they're going to be cut dry, straight to the point. They're going to ask them what's wrong, figure it out, going to give them their prescription and send them on their way, rather than actually having a conversation with them over something that's not medical. And this is alarming to me because my doctor is the complete opposite. We have a personal relationship in a way where we talk about how my school is going, how my children are doing. We talk about more things than just what's going on medically, and I feel like this gives us a strong relationship, and if my doctor were to change and become cutthroat and dry, I would change doctors instantly because that's not the kind of person that I want involved in my life. And I think that the relationships between the doctors and their patients will become less of a fiduciary relationship and more of a patient agency. And I say that because from my instance, if they are not talking to you more on a personal level and they're just wanting to learn about the medicine and don't show interest in more of just what's wrong with you, it's going to ruin your relationship. So, and also if that happens, you're not going to want to trust your doctor and you're going to want to change doctors. So this is not only going to affect the patients, but it's going to affect the doctors in the long run because they're not going to have patients to take care of. They're going to lose all of them because of their choice to go after more money than they already make rather than be a good doctor. So I'm going to also talk about some of the ethical theories, and the first one I'm going to talk about is a utilitarian view, and they believe that everyone should perform or act or follow that moral value rule that will bring about the greatest good for everyone concerned. I don't think that a utilitarian would take part in this case, and I say that because the majority here is the patients, and I say that because there is thousands of patients rather than less doctors. There are a lot of doctors, but there's going to be way more patients. So I see the patients being the majority, and this is going to affect them in a negative way. And it's going to affect them negatively because they're going to have to change their doctors. They're going to have to find someone that actually is going to care rather than try and make more money than what they already are. And the next one I want to talk about is Kant's theory. And he believes that actions such as murder, theft, lying are wrong, even if it brings out the most happiness. And Kent would see this as wrong, because even though the doctors are going to get more money and get more happiness, the idea of them being doctors just to make more money, not care about their patients, is technically unethical. And they're more concerned with money rather than what's wrong with their patients. And if they have problems with their patients, they should maybe take part in surveys, but they shouldn't be receiving a monetary reward. I think that the surveys are a good idea, because doctors can figure out what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, what they can improve on, but they should be recognized maybe once a month or quarterly or yearly, however they're wanting to do it. But they can get recognized to the community or the hospital that they work at, maybe a gift certificate or even a certificate in general. But I don't think that they should be getting more monetary value for something that they should already be doing in the first place. You should be a good doctor regardless of what your pay is. And Kant also believed in the categorical imperative, which are technically commands that you should follow, even if in doing those commands you would benefit them. And some examples that I read about were, you shouldn't lie on your taxes just because you're going to get more money from them. That's technically wrong, because you are lying and you are technically stealing for the government if you're going to get more money than you should. But even if you're benefiting from this, that's not something that you should do. So technically, the doctors would be benefiting from participating in the surveys, because they would be making more money, but it wouldn't be for the right reasons. They would be doing this to be more successful in rather than taking care of their patients and just doing their job. It's more than just a job to them when they are trying to get more money from everybody. And the thing that Kant came up with that I feel like relates most to this case would be his moral worth of a person. And a person is good or bad depending on their motivation of their actions. And moral worth is only good if one is more motivated by good morality. And you can't be a good doctor with good moral worth if you are being a doctor for the wrong reasons. If you are being a doctor to help people, then you're going to have good moral worth, because you're doing it for the right reasons. If you're doing it to get money and be greedy, then you're not going to have good moral worth, because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And I also think that virtue ethics comes into play with this, because virtue ethics considers the kind of person the physician should be, and as such is a good fit when matters related to professional obligation and standards are the core of consideration. I think that doctors are very virtuous people, because they are wanting to do good by not only their patients but everyone around them. And if you're going to be a non-virtuous person, you probably shouldn't be a doctor, because if you're wanting to be virtuous, you have to have certain types of quality traits. So you need to be honest, you need to be bold to your patients, and that relays a lot to this case too, because it's not being a virtuous doctor if you are trying to make money for the wrong reasons. It's some of the questions at the end of this. It talks about, are doctors treating their jobs as just as jobs, or do physicians have an ethical duty to go beyond diagnosis and treatment? Do patients have a right to expect personal treatment? No, patients don't have a right to expect personal treatment. And I say that because doctors really don't have to go above and beyond. They can be the cutthroat doctors like some of them are, but it makes you a better doctor if you're going to be a virtuous person. You're going to have a good moral worth. And the second question is the financial reward offered by health insurers an ethically feasible solution in addressing patient satisfaction? Like I said earlier, yes, the surveys are a good idea, but you're not going to want to do those for the monetary value. You should take the surveys into consideration for, recognition of something other than the monetary value. And that is all I have for you guys. So thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see everyone else's cases. Thank you.